Hello, Facebook Live. I missed yesterday, and I almost missed today, to be honest with you. It's just been a couple of days worth of, hit the floor running. And I have so much that I want to say about these sections that I've been reading through that I don't even know where to begin. So I'm going to begin by reading it. Here we go. Genesis chapter 11. Now the whole earth had... Yeah, that's what I want. Now the whole earth had one language and one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. Then they said to one another, "Come, let us make bricks and bake them thoroughly." They had brick for stone, and they had asphalt for mortar. And they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city, and a tower whose top is in the heavens. Let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered abroad over the face of the whole earth." But the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the sons of men had built. And the Lord said, "Indeed, the people are one, and they all have one language. And this is what they begin to do. Now nothing that they propose to do will be withheld from them. Come, let us go down, and there confuse their language, that they may not understand one another's speech." So the Lord scattered them abroad from there over the face of all the earth, and they ceased building the city. Therefore its name is called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of all the earth. And from there the Lord scattered them abroad over the face of all the earth. All right, I'm going to stop there. When I started to lose my mind about 5 years ago, there were people that I stumbled across. All right, so here's what happened. Easter, 2012. I'm going through Facebook, and there is this posting by a friend, and it's one of these little stone fertility goddesses, and it says, well, that's how much you Christians know. Easter is named after the goddess Istar. Or did you think that all those eggs and bunnies had something to do with resurrection? And I'm like staring at this post, and I'm thinking about it, because I'm not stupid, okay? I have detested Christmas for the last 30 years. Because I know my Bible. Well, I know my Bible. Part of it is because I did several years with the Church of Christ, which comes out of like Texas and Oklahoma, a very legalistic New Testament church. If it's not in the New Testament, they don't do it. Okay, so they didn't do even instruments. It was all a cappella, because there wasn't anything about instruments in the New Testament, so they couldn't justify playing pianos or guitars or anything like that. They also did not do Christmas and Easter. I remember that being a bit of a shock. But they were correct. There's nothing in the Bible about Christmas. There is a reference in the King James Version for Easter, but if you go back to the original language that it was written in, the word is Pesach, and Pesach is not Easter. Pesach is Passover. And so I'm staring at this posting on Facebook, and I'm like, well, I knew that the eggs and the bunnies had something to do with spring fertility rites, but I didn't realize that the actual name for Easter was named after some goddess other than, I thought it was some Latin word for resurrection or something like that. So I Googled this, and she was right. And I threw my hands up. I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done with these, quote, Christian holidays. I've been watching people celebrate Christ's birth. The Messiah who didn't have a place to lay his head. We celebrate his birth with gluttony and greed and drunkenness and dysfunctional family vacations or family events and lights, and it's not Christian. That is not a Christian holiday. You know? I can just imagine him thinking, "Yay, happy birthday to me," you know, and so this information about Easter was just a nail in a coffin for me. So I was like, all right, wait a minute. What does the book say we're supposed to do? Well, the book has 7 feet back in Leviticus. And I was like, okay, how are we supposed to do those? So I didn't run across, I was reading things, I was looking up stuff on the internet, and one of the people, I think it was this TedMontgomery.com, he was just a Christian posting his commentary on things, and he mentions Messianic Jews. I'm like, wait, what? What's a Messianic Jew? Oh, this is a Jew who believes that Jesus was the Messiah. Wonder if there's any of those in Phoenix. So I checked that out, and I discovered that there was, in the long run, I discovered there were 3 different congregations in Phoenix. But I went to one. I fell madly in love with this church. It was it was just very different. It was, for me, it was very different. Now, part of why it was different, what I discovered, was because the rabbi, the pastor, whatever you want to call him, was trained in the Assembly of God. And you will recall that I said that I came up in a legalistic Church of Christ setting, the Assembly of God, and I had many years ago bumped heads. They were a little bit too emotional for me, you know. I was a little bit more staid than the Assembly of God. So, and the other churches that I attended tended to be Baptist, you know. So I'm used to a little bit more dignity than you normally find in an Assembly of God. But this teacher really had something. He had charisma. But he also had knowledge. He opened this book that I'm reading. When I was, I guess, high school, we had this game called Bible Trivia. Like, remember Trivial Pursuit? This was Bible Trivia. And my mother used to make me play the adult cards while everybody else played the kid cards, because I just absorbed this information and I held on to it and I loved it. And so every card was a big giant discussion for me. You know, this happened and then that happened and obviously nothing has changed in that department. But what I had not seen was the typology of Christ over and over and over and over in the Old Testament. The Old Testament is the New Testament concealed. The New Testament is the Old Testament revealed. Something like that. I mean, they play off of one another, and it was just fascinating to watch. It was like this teacher that I discovered took a pencil sketch and colored it in. It was it just brought it to life, you know. Well, because of the Messianic Church, this includes my sister, kind of sucked into Hebrew, the language of Hebrew. And so that kind of what I'm saying is I developed this, it was actually a path of people that I discovered on YouTube. Probably the first one I discovered was L.A. Marzulli. That is an interesting man. L.A. Marzulli led me to Rob Skiba. Rob Skiba led me to, he led me to Mark Sargent, but he also, one person after another, I kept gathering up these teachers. And if you would like to do a search on YouTube and watch any of their stuff, just fascinating. As I said, what was happening was, so this rabbi or pastor at the Messianic congregation, he's coloring in this picture of what I've got in my head with like pastels. Rob Skiba took it fluorescent. Okay, he's the one who pointed out that in the Bible it talks about the Nephilim and it talks about giants, and why did it never occur to me that the Bible's talking about giants? Everything was very naturalistic to me. I think I pictured this giant as just, a really big guy. No, he was a giant, and he had brothers, and they were giants too, and so I've got these teachers that are just coloring in this book and giving me information that I had never had before. All right, so the reason that I stopped here is because one of the teachers I ran across, his name is Dr. Michael Heiser. And his story, and he could obviously tell his story better than I can tell his story, but what he said, I'm listening to a podcast, I guess like an interview, where he said that he was studying ancient Semitic languages. Super, super smart guy. Listening to any of his stuff is not like listening to a preacher. You feel like you've been to a college lecture when you're done listening to his stuff. But so he's talking about seeing a friend of his at church before church starts. You know how you get, hi, how are you? Everybody's settling in. And his friend points out Psalm 82. He said, have you ever read this? And he was like, I'm sure he said, yes, of course. He said, no. Read it again. Read it. So I'm going to read it. God stands in the congregation of the mighty. He judges among the gods. Wait, what? Gods? More than one God? What is going on here? How long... I'm going to continue to read again. How long will you judge unjustly and show partiality to the wicked? Defend the poor and the fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and needy. Deliver the poor and the needy. Free them from the hand of the wicked. They do not know, nor do they understand. They walk about in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are unstable. This is God talking, I say, you are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High, but you shall die like men, and fall like one of the princes. Hear that? Die like men. He's not talking to men. It wouldn't be die like men. If you're talking to a man, it would not be unexpected that you die like a man. He's talking to something else where it would be unexpected that they die like a man. Arise, O God, judge the earth. for you shall inherit all nations. Okay, so Michael Heiser says he read this verse and does not remember the sermon from the church that morning because this banged around inside his brain. Wait, gods? More gods than just God? That's really interesting. All right. So he actually wrote his thesis on this. He did a great deal of research. Here's another verse, and it's super easy to remember these two. If you Psalm 82, Deuteronomy 32. They both end in 2. Have to go find the exact verse I'm looking for. Okay, starts in verse 7, the thing I'm interested in here. Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask your father, and he will show you. Your elders, and they will tell you. When the Most High divided their inheritance to the nations. When he separated the sons of Adam, he set the boundaries of the peoples according to the number of the sons of God. For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is his place of his is the place of his inheritance. Okay. Having a little trouble here with the breeze. Many verses say, according to the number of the children of Israel, but that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense because this is talking about the Tower of Babel, when God went down and broke up all these languages. And the children of Israel did not exist yet. Family tree-wise, I'm going to start reading this so that you get to where Israel was Jacob's name. Jacob was born to Isaac. Isaac was born to Abraham. Abraham was born to Terah. We're not even close to the sons of Israel. So who are the sons of God? Well, if we go all the way back to Genesis 6, we've already figured out that the sons of God are angels. So apparently, this is part of what made my brain explode. Because I came from that mentality where idols were cars and houses and money, and spirits were cigarettes and alcohol. And what this is telling me is that these gods are real. These gods were real. It made my brain bleed. It made me do a lot of thinking. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking about this right now, and I'm going to continue to read. This is the genealogy of Shem. Shem was 100 years old and begot Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. After he got Arphaxad, Shem lived 500 years and begot sons and daughters. You remember that line we read a couple verses back about God only putting up with man for 120 years? Obviously, this 120 years was not about how long man was going to live, because immediately Shem lived to 600 years. Arphaxad, did he live to 600? Yeah, 600. Arphaxad lived 35 years and begot Selah. After he begot Selah, Arphaxad lived 403 years and begot sons and daughters. Selah lived 30 years and begot Eber. After he begot Eber, Selah lived 403 years and begot sons and daughters. Eber lived 34 years and begot Peleg. After he begot Peleg, Eber lived 430 years and begot sons and daughters. Peleg lived 30 years and begot Reu. After he begot Reu, Peleg lived 209 years and begot sons and daughters. Reu lived 32 years and begot Serug. After he begot Serug, Reu lived 207 years and begot sons and daughters. Serug lived 30 years and begot Nahor. After he begot Nahor, Serug lived 200 years and begot sons and daughters. Nahor lived 29 years and begot Terah. After he begot Terah, Nahor lived 119 years and begot sons and daughters. Now Terah lived 70 years and begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran. This is the genealogy of Terah. Terah begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Haran begot Lot. And Haran died before his father Terah in his native land, in Ur of the Chaldeans. And then Abram and Nahor took wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife, Milcah, the daughter of Haran, and the father of Milcah. The father of Milcah and the father of Iscah. All right, I'm going to try to untangle that there. The name of Nahor's wife, Milcah, the daughter of Haran. Haran was Nahor's brother, so Milcah was Nahor's niece as well as his wife. The father of Milcah and the father of Iscah. I don't know who Iscah is. But I do know that Lot was also the Haran begot Lot. So there's 3 kids here coming from Haran before he died. Lot, Milcah, and Iscah. Anyway. But Sarai was barren. She had no children, no child. And Terah took his son Abram and his grandson Lot, the son of Haran, and his daughter-in-law Sarai, which is an interesting term there, his son Abram's wife, and they went out with them from Ur of the Chaldeans to go to the land of Canaan. And they came to Haran and dwelt there. So the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. Now, this is chapter 12. Now the Lord had said to Abram, "Get out of your country, from your family, and from your father's house, to a land that I will show you. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you, and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse him who curses you. And in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed." So Abram departed as the Lord had spoken to him, and Lot went with him. And Abraham was 75 years old when he departed from Haran. Okay, so there's a YouTube video put out by Now You See TV where Michael Mize lays out the like this guy was this old when he had this kid, and then this guy was this old, and that lays it all out in the timeline. What he points out that I don't think anybody has ever seen before is that it says that Terah. Yeah, Terah. This has got to do with numbers. Terah, okay. After we got Terah on that. Okay, Terah lived 70 years and begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran. When Terah died, he was 205 years old. 205 minus 70. I'm one of those people who does not do... I'm pretty good with math, but I gotta have paper. So, let's have 205 minus 70 is 5, is 3, is 135. What? So, if Abram had been born when Terah was 70, he would be 135 years old when his father died. And yet, it says now, blah, 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 blah. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed from Haran. So we're off here by 60 years. Now, I think what they pointed out is this. I think what we can gather is this. That Abram, Nahor, and Haran, because that's how it reads, that now Terah lived 70 years and begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran. I do not believe that all these guys were triplets, or all born about... I think that the feeling... Hold on, I have to go feed dogs. Max! Get over here. Hurry up. Stupid dog. I'm back. Sorry about that. All right, so I think that the feeling is that when Terah was 70 years old, he started having kids. And he had. And I think that they're actually in reverse order here, because it lists them as Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Haran died... Haran was the father of Nahor's wife. I think he was significantly older than these other two boys. So if you're figuring out a timeline, you kind of want to figure, don't take this, that Terah was 70 and then he had Abram. Rather, you want to go, Terah died when he was 205, and Abram was 75 years old when his father died. Then Abram took Sarah, his wife, Sarai, and Lot, his brother's son, and all their possessions that they had gathered, and the people whom they had acquired in Haran, and they departed to go to the land of Canaan. So they came to the land of Canaan. Abram passed through the land to the place of Shechem, as far as the terebinth tree of Moreh. And the Canaanites were then in the land. Then the Lord appeared... I have a little star here, not of my own. This is a pre-printed star. The Bible company put it there. And rumor has it that these stars mean we're looking at prophecy. Then the Lord appeared to Abram and said, "To your descendants I will give this land." And there he built an altar to the Lord who had appeared to him. And he moved from there to the mountain east of Bethel, and he pitched his tent with Bethel on the west, and Ai on the east. And there he built an altar to the Lord and called on the name of the Lord. So Abram journeyed, going on still toward the south. Now there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down to Egypt to dwell there, for the famine was severe in the land. And it came to pass, when he was close to entering Egypt, that he said to Sarai his wife, Indeed, I know that you are a woman of beautiful countenance. Therefore it will happen, when the Egyptians see you, that they will say, This is his wife, and they will kill me, but they will let you live. Please say that you are my sister, that it may be well with me for your sake, and that I may live because of you. So it was, when Abram came into Egypt, that the Egyptians saw the woman, that she was very beautiful. The princes of Pharaoh also saw her, and commended her to Pharaoh. And the woman was taken to Pharaoh's house. He treated Abram well for her sake. He had sheep, oxen, male donkeys, male and female servants, female donkeys, and camels. But the Lord plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. And Pharaoh called Abram and said, What is this that you have done to me? Why did you not tell me she was your wife? Why did you say, She is my sister? I might have taken her as my wife. Now therefore, here is your wife. Take her and go your way. Take her and go your way. So Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they sent him away with his wife and all that he had. Anyway, that's it for the end of chapter 12, and that's it for today. I think the thing that blows my mind is I never had a supernatural worldview. I did not believe. Didn't believe in ghosts. I didn't believe in any of this stuff. Everything was very natural. And not only have I begun to see, and I still can't see this stuff. My sister can see this stuff. I can't see it. I can, however, see the evidence of it. It's like a hunter that travels through the woods, and they can see the broken twig, the paw print in the soft earth, the scat that's along the trail. I can see that. I cannot see the fox, but I can see that the fox has been there. And that is something that gets stronger and stronger every day. I have begun to see some very interesting things. It's that classic question, why is the world so evil? The world is evil because Satan is running this world. And there really is such a thing as Satan. What's that line in The Usual Suspects, that the greatest trick that the devil ever pulled was convincing the world that he didn't exist? And as we watch the Ten Commandments get pulled down and the Baphomet get put up, and after school Satan go into our schools, take your kids out of school. If you have kids in school, take them out of school. It's just getting super interesting. Just getting interesting. Anyway, thanks for listening. See you tomorrow.